This is the Understanding Your Credit Score video. We are still in Unit 2, which is our credit and debt unit. And this video supports our Standard 2, which is summarize a borrower's rights and responsibilities related to credit reports. So credit scores and credit reports travel together. So let's just define some of these terms. We'll start with a credit score. Probably heard people talking about credit scores or credit reports. The credit score is simply a number that has been assigned to a person based on their past history with repaying debt and whether or not, the score represents whether or not that person would be a good person to loan money to, for the bank to loan money to. Sometimes it is called a FICO score. And just to know the background, that comes from the company that created it, the Fair Isaac Corporation. And they actually created the mathematical algorithm that pulls together all the things that are in a person's credit report and then assigns a score to it. There's other companies that do the same kind of work, but FICO is the most popular in the United States. So that's what we know most information about. And it does assign a 3-digit score. So why do we care about this credit score? Well, it's important if we ever want to borrow money. So if we want to borrow money, let's say to buy a car, the bank or the dealership, if they are going to loan you money, they want to know whether or not you're going to pay it back. And a credit score gives some indication of that. It also impacts your interest rate. So if you have a better credit score, if you're a more reliable, I guess, in repaying your debts, you can probably get a better interest rate than a person who doesn't have a very good credit score. Here are the ranges of the credit scores. So if you're thinking, well, what is a good credit score? Well, the top is this range is 850 and the bottom of the range is 300. So you can see 300 to 579 is the poor range. It goes the whole way up to excellent credit scores in the 800 to 850 range. So good would be right there in the middle. Now, there are 3 credit reporting agencies in the United States that we use primarily. And they're called Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And these organizations all have a credit report that they have created based on your history with debt, but they are different. This is kind of interesting. They each might have different things that they're looking for or that are part of what they're interested in for their credit reports. And even if you look at the credit scores that these organizations have for you, they also may be different at every one of the agencies. So that is not uncommon. So that's something not to be worried about if you realize that. Currently, you can get a free credit report from each one of these agencies once a year. During the pandemic, that changed and people were able to get a lot more frequently. But for sure, you can always get one free one a year. Now, when we talk a little bit more about that algorithm that the FICO company put together, there are 5 things that are taken into consideration when that score is being calculated, and they are here on this screen. And the highest percentage, that 35%, is based on payment history. And that simply means what you've done in the past as far as paying back your debt in the past. Have your payments been on time? Or have you skipped a payment or missed a payment? Having on-time payment history is very important because that's the biggest part of the FICO score. After that is 30%, and that's amounts owed. So the FICO calculation has a part of it that is how much outstanding debt does a person have, or does this person have? And, based upon that, that's going to influence the score. Now, these other percentages are smaller. The 15% length of credit history, that just means how many years have you had debt, and they like it longer. The longer, the better. 10% is new credit. That is how much new credit have you been applying for recently. If you've been doing a lot, that's probably not as great as not having a lot of new credit. The credit mix, they like a mix of revolving credit, installment loans, mortgages, just kind of a different mix of things. So that's kind of what that last 10% is. But again, the most important things are your payment history and the amounts owed. I just want to end with these 2 reflection questions, and there is a spot in the notes organizer for both of these. Why do you think the credit score was created, and what kind of ideas has it created in our society? Thanks, everybody.